Shalom. It's your brother Shawayad coming back at you once again. All by the Spirit. Ka'Allah, Ta'abanawa. And most importantly, thanks Ta'abanawa, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, for giving me the spirit to be able to come back and do another video. Hopefully something that could be edifying, ammunition, or exhortation to the body of Yahweh Shah. So the spirit just came across me, so I'm going to just go out the spirit. So everyone's walk is really a walk of faith. Every single vessel of the Lord and Yahweh Shah will be tried by fire, as we know. So each man has to go through that for themselves. And with that being said, some brothers, when you get in the truth, which some brothers, we believe to be the churches I deal with, I should say, which is just a body of Israelites gathering that believes one thing. We believe that once you're in the truth, once you put your hand to the plow, and each man has to do that for his own self. Like I said in the book of James, faith without works is dead. So yeah, it's all about being rooted and grounded in faith, having faith as your foundation. But however, in the same time, you prove your faith by what you do, your works. You can't say you believe in this and you can't really show it. The thing you can't show is what you believe in. Which is why it's faith. It's belief. As long as you have enough as the mustard seed, like the Lord said, Yahweh Shah, you'll be able to move. You'll be able to tell this mountain move from hence, and it will move. Paraphrasing. Now, every brother has to do that for himself, work out his own salvation, his or her own salvation. Because the women, they're not excluded in this. There's gonna be a small few, but they're not excluded. This is all a body. It's all for the team. It's all for the greater good of the team. The team, like I said, in the world, teamwork makes the dream work. So it's collectively gonna be every brother doing what he or she has to do for his or her own salvation, but it's ultimately for the raising back up of our nation. To restore the house of Jacob back to the Lord, back to Yahweh, Abanawa. And help build back up the tribes. So that's really what you gotta come to terms with. And a lot of brothers, so the thing could be like I've done labor, but it hasn't been gone out to the body, because there's been other things that's been going on my path. You might be, I'm reading, it's not like, a brother don't see you, recently, you've left the faith, because there are many works in detail. All of it is the same labor, but it's a lot with this walk. Like a lot of brothers, you have some brothers that will be going to camp. I'm not in the camp yet, so I wouldn't know. But from elders, putting out edification on these things, and other Akim laboring in the truth or whatever. As far as that goes, because you got charity too, and brothers don't see that, and that covers an abundance of sins. So, it's a lot that go into this. So brothers will not see you and automatically assume that you're not in the faith no more, and that's because they really don't know the whole gospel. They don't know the truth. They don't know, what Yahweh passed on to the disciples, and who later became apostles, and then they passed on to us for us to be disciples, and then later on, really become apostles. But like the scriptures say, are all apostles? Are all teachers? So you just gotta find your thing out, and that's what you could be doing. You know what I'm saying? So, which it tells you that in the book of Corinthians, I believe 2 Corinthians chapter 12, it talks about that really all throughout multiple chapters of different epistles. And but you can really find that in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. It's definitely chapter 12. I believe it's 2 Corinthians. So, but the main thing the Lord really wants us to focus on is us, trimming our lamps, and you gotta really look up what that means. Like, if you've never seen the trimming of a lamp, you need to understand what he means. When, like, the scriptures, the teachers of our teachers is so. It's so beautiful because you can actually go look these things up, like sifting and like I said, trimming a lamp. Trimming of a lamp is trimming the wick. So you trim the wick. Reason why you trim a wick, because after a wick, it's like, okay, you get a candle, or like a real candle, the wick could go out and it can't burn anymore. But he said trim it. Why? Because wax will build up. You got old wax build up. You got residue, meaning you still have to, what goes into the other thing, it all links up. As it says, all the things that was written aforetime were written for our learning. So it tells you back in the book of Isaiah chapter 28 that line upon line, precept upon precept, who should I teach knowledge, etc. Paraphrasing. So that's how you line this thing up. It's a puzzle. So that trimming your lamp goes into cutting the wick, making sure the wick stays fresh, making sure the wick is how it needs to be, which goes into putting off the old man, being renewed in your mind. You think you getting in the kingdom still with old problems that you have not worked on? So you can't continue in this walk properly unless you're doing that. So it's a lot of things you have to tend to in this truth. So it's not like you put one thing down and then you deal with that. Nah, you got to do it all. Now you supposed to have your eye single. So that's for you to break down, because all of this is for the one goal. This goes into the one goal. So would that still be your eye being single? Yes, it would. But you got to do things in reality, and logic. You got to do things accordingly to how the scriptures say, according to the scripture. Thus said the Lord. So that's really, it's really a testimony, really. So you got to trim these lamps, man. We got to be renewed in our mind. We got to put off the old man. We got to, put off old conversations conforming to old man. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk about things the old man care about. You don't go have conversations about stuff concerning the old man. That's what he was sitting talk about. So you got to put those things off, man. You know what I'm saying? However, let all things be to edification. So if you're doing it to edify, that's a whole nother thing, which Paul Did he put off conversation concerning the old man completely? Yeah, in the way he was supposed to, but in order to edify, no. Because he constantly repeated how he was persecuted the church and, etc. How he was called. He constantly goes into conversations concerning the old man. Those are things dealing with his old man. But like I said, it's twofold in the sense of also understanding that it's putting off conversations that your old man care about. Which can't be right. So I hope that was edifying. Like I said, there's really a testimony. You can look through it. I've been really on my, trying to put the whole thing together how it needs to be. And it really is of the Lord. It's like the scriptures say, man's goings are of the Lord, so how can man understand his own way? You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'm going to say, Shalom, Shalom.